What conspiracy theories do you believe in? Andreas, oh, boy, is this a really good one. Because since the beginning of time, there's always been conspiracy theories. What do you believe? What do you not believe? Does this sound right? You got the whole 9/11 conspiracy. You got the JFK conspiracy. You got the did we land on the moon conspiracy. Some people reckon, okay, we did go to the moon, but was the footage actually real or made up? And there's valid arguments for a lot of these conspiracies. Do we want to believe them? No. But how many times have America and a lot of other countries lied to the public so they can forward their agenda? What really shits me, Andreas, you got people like Peter Keller, who fucking thinks he knows everything. He knows squat. And he reckons he knows fucking absolutely everything. Whenever someone questions something that has merit, questions it straight away, Peter Keller's like, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist. Oh, these conspiracy theorists, oh, all they do is fucking believe in conspiracies. Mate, if you told Peter Keller that there's a donkey that has flown in the sky, the first ever donkey that's ever flown before, and there was media coverage of it, Peter Keller would believe it. Some conspiracies, Andreas, are just flat out horseshit. But then you get other conspiracies that actually make a lot of sense.
This is actually a good topic. Conspiracy theories. Now, personally, I don't really look into them too much. Actually, I don't actually look into them at all. The reason being is because there is a conspiracy theory about every single major event that happened. 9/11, Sandy Hook shootings, actually any school shooting really, including Boston and the club in Florida a couple of years ago, assassinations. There's just conspiracy theories about every single thing. Now, this is the reason I just don't listen to them. I don't believe any of them. I'll be honest with you. Because there is a conspiracy about every single thing that exists, I just flat out do not want to believe any of them unless there's solid evidence. It's not any different to religious people. What do I mean by that? There are hundreds, if not thousands, of gods and religions and this and that. So I don't believe in any of them until one of them presents to me and says, hey, I am God. And I'll be like, oh, you are God. I believe you. I believe in a God now. That's how it is with conspiracy theories. Everyone will believe in a few of them, or one of them, or this or that. I just don't believe in any. There is no evidence. I am yet to find a conspiracy theory where they've provided evidence. I mean, one of the biggest ones is 9/11, where they say that the government did it. Where's the evidence? All these thousands of people that would have orchestrated this, why haven't any of them come out? The moon landing, 40,000 people were involved. Why hasn't a single person who actually was involved come out to say anything? The assassination of JFK, no evidence, just random people saying random things. It's all just bullshit. I don't believe in any of them. It saddens me that there are so many people in this world that believe every single thing that YouTube or the internet tells them. I don't necessarily believe when there's something happening, but I'm not going to go out and try and disprove it with absolutely zero evidence. Simple as that. And this is why I am so against them. Sandy Hook, many children were killed. This happened a few years ago by a gunman at a school in America. And all these conspiracy theories have come out that that was done by the government so they can ban weapons. This was during the Obama administration. It's gone to the point where people have started threatening the parents of these children for making up that they had a child when they really didn't. I mean, that is sick. And they're getting death threats. It's not hard to find, you can Google it. And you can see the interviews of these people who show pictures of their children saying, here you go, my child existed. And they're saying that all these photographs are fake on the internet. Just ridiculous. So, conspiracy theories are bullshit. Once there is evidence, it's not a conspiracy theory anymore. I'm still waiting to see one that has been proven. One of the major ones, of course.
I'll tell you what, man. A lot of conspiracies that were claimed back then have come to fruition, have come to be true. The Gulf of Tonkin incident. So many Americans went into war over a lie. The government poisoned alcohol during Prohibition and killed thousands. We spoke about alcohol another time during the Prohibition era. The government is trying to control your mind. The government is spying on you. The government is spying on the media. The government lied to get the country involved in wars. Just in general, the government knows where the aliens are. The government can control the weather. And all of that has been proven to be true. Conspiracies that go back decades upon decades upon decades upon decades upon decades, and now have finally come to light with evidence. That said, Andreas, I agree with you that the majority, and unfortunately it's become the majority, it's become the freaking norm, the majority of conspiracy theories are flat out horseshit. Agree 100% with you on that. The moon landing. Did we go to the moon? Possibly, quite possibly, probably. Who can be certain? Most likely. That would be my guess. Was the footage actually real? See, that's where I got a huge question mark. Because back then, they televised it live on every station, every single network. Back then, you're gonna do something live on a network. We just figured out how to do that properly now, let alone back then. And with all the radiation up there, how could film survive? So there's a huge question mark on that. And, you know, these are the conspiracies that I was talking about, which have a lot of merit. Sandy Hook, that's just, yeah. It's so disappointing to see people be that dumb, be that stupid. You know, just like religion, Andreas. A lot of people who believe in conspiracies like a detriment to their core belief, literally believe in conspiracies until the end of space and time, just like religion, that is a mental illness. I've covered religion before, and I've wrecked countless of people, and they've hated me ever since because of it. And you've just said it yourself, we speak the same language because we're logical individuals. It's all horse shit. Unless you have evidence, proof. And a lot of times you need concrete proof. Some proof is valid, but a lot of times, and for all these massive claims, you need to have concrete evidence. 9/11, they reckon they helped bring it down. They needed a reason to go to war, Andreas. Who knows? Did they know before it happened? Probably. How do you not know something like that is going to happen? Do you let it happen? Well, I didn't like their chances at stopping it until the very last minute when they thought, shit, oh fuck, this is actually happening. Maybe you can say they were very negligent, but did they play a part in deliberately causing that to happen? Yeah, only a Fruit Loop would believe that. Yeah, the assassination of JFK, that has a little bit of merit, Andreas. A lot of people, especially in government, wanted him gone. He would have been the only president in the history of the world to actually change the world. And they silenced him quick smart. Andreas, the government is your worst enemy. And they want you to think they're there to help you. They're only there, Andreas, to fill their fucking dirty, blood-soaked pockets. The blood from other people.
The reason I don't believe any of these conspiracies is because there are just so many of them. I mean, where does one start? And what does the other end? I've heard over 10 different conspiracies about it, and they all contradict each other. Whether it's that the government knew about the terrorists and they didn't do anything about it. Whether the one that there were bombs in buildings. So the conspiracy theorists, just pick one and just stick with it. Sandy Hook, so we both agree there. One thing that you talked about religion and I found very interesting. It's funny how a lot of people that are religious tend to believe in conspiracy theories. You are correct there. And I've seen that in the past with a lot of friends who will believe conspiracy theories and they're the same ones who believe in God. This is why I find that ridiculous. They're happy to question every event that happens in this world. They'll question it. We didn't land on the moon. The government killed JFK. 9/11, it's bullshit, this, that. The same people that say that, and they question everything. They don't question anything about God when there's zero evidence of God. Anyone who tells you that there's evidence that there is a God is talking shit, because they don't know more than me and I don't know more than them. They don't have more evidence than me that God exists, and I don't have any more evidence than them that God exists. To me, there is no God until it's proven. So I question everything. I question conspiracies. I question God. I question the news. I question everything. These guys question everything as well, but they never question God. I think that's a massive conspiracy in itself. That's one conspiracy I actually believe. People force other people to believe in God, to take their money, to make them do things they don't want to do, to make them commit suicide, like a lot of these, should I say, the religions in the fringe do, and have made their followers do in the past. And they do it for power. I mean, Who are the most powerful organizations in the world? Churches. They don't pay tax. They take money from people, from donations. So maybe that's a conspiracy. And we're the smart ones who don't believe in that bullshit. And we're never going to give a cent to any of these churches. Who knows? Maybe that's the only conspiracy I believe in.
Oh, Andreas, religion is a big one. A big social cancer to society. You're sitting down at a table and you're looking at your meal and you tell people around you that it is the body of Elvis Presley, they're gonna look at you and call a cat team. But when you go into a church and you wait in line and then you get the cracker, that's the English version. There's a million versions. To our point, which version is true? None of them are. You get a cracker, English version, or you get bread, the Orthodox version. And that's the body of Christ. You're drinking the red wine, and that is the blood of Christ. You don't need a cat team there. No, you're perfectly fine there. You're normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Yet, when you say that you're eating the body of Elvis Presley, then you need help. Irony is the key word. That and delusion for what religion is, Andreas. That's all it is, mate. Irony and delusion. And you get so many people out there, Andreas, that believe in this utmost fantasy. It is nothing but a pure fantasy. And one that doesn't even make any sense. What really irritates me, to the moon and back, to Planet Galaxy 581 and back, is when people say, oh, I'm in hospital and I don't know if the tests are going to come back for anything really bad. This is God's way of punishing me. What are you talking about? God, the God you believe in, not the one we believe in, even as a fictional character for educational purposes, because that's what it is, and such a piss poor example of it. Would he give you cancer? Would he give you AIDS? Would he give you a flu that you could die from? Would he have you on life support? Would he have you get hit by a car? Would he have you cry, bawl your eyes out because the sins that you've done, the stuff that you've done, sins, bad actions, your kid is paying for because he's 5 years old and he's got leukemia and it's terminal. So God punishes by doing lessons like that. Those are lessons from God. Pain, misery, those are lessons from God. What are we teaching the brand new generation of kids that are growing up and turning into people, into adults? What are we teaching them? That if you're at work and someone does something wrong by you, you didn't agree with it, you're gonna get a pot plant and smash it over his head and then start stomping on his face when he's down. That's punishment. Are we gonna take that example from God, the way he punishes? Tell you what, getting a pot plant from the office smashed over your head, having your face stumped on, you might lose a few teeth, you might have 2 swollen black eyes, your nose might be broken, but you're not going to have leukemia that's terminal. You're not going to get hit by a car and be on life support. You're not going to be raped. As a 13-year-old teenage girl, you're not going to be raped over in Paris and everywhere else around the world when it comes to sex trafficking. And then so you don't speak, they don't let you go home, they inject you with a lethal dose of heroin, so you're kaput. Pop plan, getting stumped a million times in the face seems pretty good. And that's a page out of God's book. How do you justify all this shit happening if there was a God? They have found a great excuse, they think. Great excuse that God gave everyone free will. So what's leukemia's excuse? Leukemia isn't an individual with the ability to have free will. Leukemia is a disease. Why do people get leukemia and die? Where's the free will in that? Where's your argument there? Oh, we don't know why it happens. Yeah, of course you don't know. You don't know fuck all about anything. Absolutely. That's the one thing I do agree with when it comes to religious people. They don't have a single solitary clue about fuck all under us. And even if an individual has that rule of free will, oh, okay, let's entertain the idea, shall we? I don't mind reading books from the fiction section, but these books from the fiction section make fucking sense. Every book does, every novel does. Religion makes fuck all sense. Let's entertain the idea about the whole free will thing. Okay, so free will for people to do as they please. In reality, things don't work that way. If a God did exist, free will that an individual has or not, God would have exceptions. He wouldn't allow an 8-month-old baby, 8-month-old baby, heck, when they're born. I know someone who's worked in the field that catches these sick fucks. As soon as they're born, they've still got the hospital tag on, and some sick fuck goes in there and molests the baby and then puts a pillow over its head and kills the babies. People do that. God can't step in. God can't make an exception there. We just narrow it down to free will. We read that somewhere, and it's been harped on, from the gospel, people say it in church, free will. We get educated with this propaganda, so we're just going to believe free will. You can't even make sense. You can't even think logically and say, okay, free will to an extent. Everything has limits. Everything has exceptions. That's why we invented the term in the English language, who knows if they even passed English, called exceptions. There are exceptions to every single rule. You find me something where there isn't an exception. God can't save teenage girls from getting molested and murdered. God can't save children that are molested and murdered. Babies that are molested and murdered. God can't prevent so much devastation in the world when it comes to murder, accidental deaths. God can't prevent that. What, was it the woman's free will to accidentally get hit by a car? Was it the gentleman's or the lady's free will to cross the road and get hit by a car? No. Was it the person's free will behind the wheel of a car to hit someone? No. What happens when it comes to accidents? How do you explain natural disasters? Whose fucking free will is that? You complete fucking morons. I know so many morons that not only buy into religion, but they'll hate people for not believing it. Women won't want to know you, have anything to do with you. They'll be like, oh, don't talk to him. Yeah, he's an atheist. I am a fucking realist. You moron. A realist. Conspiracies, Andreas, that is a universal conspiracy. Religion. And I tell you what, as far as I'm concerned, as far as you're concerned, brother, to us, there's no conspiracy about it, mate. God doesn't exist, and for the reasons I mentioned, that being common sense. And then you add the whole evidence factor where there is none. Nothing has ever been produced to show that there's a God. Apart from people's stories where they've been psychotic and they need drugs, antipsychotic drugs, to make them not be psychotic. To, fix that chemical imbalance in the brain where they woke up and they saw, Mary, or they saw Jesus. And they spoke, to them. Or there's angels that were following them. Yeah, none of that exists. None of that exists. Great fairy tale. Great story. If it made sense. But to a little kid, but the thing is, if it's bullshit, look, kids grow up with Santa. Kids grow up with the Tooth Fairy. They grow out of it quick smart. If you want to teach your kid about this magical being named God, Jesus and Mary, and all the angels and blah, 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 blah. All right, whatever. It can't hurt, because by the time they're 5 or 6, they're going to realize, well, God doesn't exist. The mental anguish, the psychological damage, Andreas, happens when they turn 5 or 6, and these mentally ill families, these people continue to tell them that it's real. It is a 100% legal, perfectly legal form of child abuse and mental abuse to everyone that'll listen. If you do this type of mental abuse, this type of harassment, it's illegal. But when it comes to religion, people could say anything they want, any horseshit they want. It's one thing to believe it. A wise person once said, believe whatever the fuck you want. Just don't, push it onto others. Don't, advertise it to others. Keep it to yourself. When you start advertising it to others, Andreas, it becomes toxic. It becomes terminal. We've got so many people, and literally, Muslims are fucking killing each other. You think Muslims just become radicalized? They don't become radicalized. You can have a mother who's making sandwiches in the kitchen, and she finds out something, and she knows it's a sin to her religion, and she has no choice but to hang herself and hang her kids with her. She was never psychotic. There was nothing wrong with her. She never took a single antidepressant, but she went and did that because that's what she believes. It's not wrong. If God says it's fine, kill your whole fucking family. Murder, suicide. People bomb so many crowded places. And before that, they were fucking taking up dancing lessons. Perfectly normal. They could pass any psych test on the face of the planet. Religion causes war, as does power. Religion is just a subcategory. It's no different. Mate, we'll cover religion. I've done it before and we'll do it again. We'll cover it, Andreas, you and I. And I'll tell you, man, it'll be a podcast for the ages. We're going to do it live on Facebook. And I'll tell you why. Because if we, Andreas, get shit for doing this, then how come anybody else doesn't get shit for doing what they do? It's okay for them to have their belief, their thoughts, express themselves. But opposing individuals don't have the right to share their thoughts, their beliefs, their own findings, express themselves. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to do that, Andreas. The world is fucked. Conspiracies in this world are fucked. And the biggest conspiracy of all is religion. A lot of people have cracked the code and know that it's bullshit. A lot of people haven't. And for the people that haven't debunked it, the people that haven't come to the realization that religion and God is all absolutely A-grade, premium quality horseshit, then I feel sorry for them. More importantly, Andreas, I feel sorry for the people around them.
Johnny, I think that we have cracked the code. I think that is the biggest conspiracy of them all. And I'd love to do a live podcast on this. I've got a lot to say. A lot to say about religion. There's two things that piss me off the most about religious people. One is, there are a lot of individuals in this world who want to do good. They grow up, they go to school, they study hard, they get really good scores, they go to university, they spend years and years and years studying medicine, studying to be a doctor, studying to cure diseases, studying to make this world a disease-free place. Some of them go mad trying to crack the codes to cure cancer, to cure AIDS, to cure all these life-threatening diseases and all these terminal diseases. And they don't get any appreciation. Because you know what happens? If somebody's cured, there's a really high chance that they're going to thank God for it. And there's a very high chance that the family's going to thank God for it. And there are families out there who will donate to the church if somebody has got a terminal disease or has got a serious disease and they are cured. And they don't thank the doctors. No, God did it. There are couples out there that cannot have children. And the families, they go and they pray to God. And they pray, let us have children. They do IVF and suddenly they have children. And they thank God for it. Not the scientists, not the doctors, not the researchers, not the people that have invested millions of dollars and tens of thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of hours of their lives to bring this amazing technology to the world. They don't thank them. They thank God for it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. God didn't give you children. God didn't get rid of your disease. If you didn't go to the doctor, if you didn't do IVF, you wouldn't have survived the disease. You wouldn't have had children. You could have prayed to God until your mouth bled and you wouldn't have gotten the result you wanted. You wouldn't. But hey, if it works out because you went to the doctor, nah, fuck the doctors. Thank God. Don't donate to the hospital that saved you. Nah, donate to a church. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting. Where does that money go? Where do these donations go? They don't even pay taxes. They've got trillions, all the churches combined. And where does that money go? To the pockets of the priests. To pay off court cases for when priests have molested children and raped children. ridiculous, and it sickens me. And religion sickens me. Organized religion is the worst thing that's ever happened to this world. And one more thing that I can't stand. All these people that say they've spoken to God, all these people that were told things by God, and it's in the Bible, and everyone believes them. But now, when somebody says it today, they're crazy. They throw them in an asylum. I don't understand it. How is that any different? What about the parents who kill their children because God told them to? And they go to prison. I don't understand. Makes no sense. I'd love to do a podcast on this. This is a topic of itself. It's a massive conspiracy. I just wish there were more people in this world like us. The only thing that gives me courage is the fact that in the late 19th century, early 20th century, they estimated that about between 2 and 5% of the population, the world population, were atheists. Between 2 and 5%. And today, it's up to 30%. 30%. What has changed in those 100 years? Our IQs have grown. We are smarter. We've got access to more things. It's funny how not a single miracle has ever been caught on tape. Isn't that funny? The claims of miracles ceased when the camera was invented. There were millions of miracles before cameras and video cameras were invented. And now, you don't hear about miracles. You don't. You know, bringing back the dead, making somebody who's blind see again. People walking on water. I've never seen that. I want to see it. I want to see a video of it. You know, I hear ridiculous stories of people that say, oh, there was this, you know, in some village in Greece. I mean, I've heard this in Greece. I've heard it from multiple people about all these other different people. There was a person who was in a wheelchair and went into a church and prayed to God, and they walked out of church. That's bullshit. Don't believe that. How can you believe that? Where's the evidence of that? And why hasn't a single person in a wheelchair today done that? Why don't they just go in and pray? I can guarantee you they're not going to walk out of the church, because it's all bullshit. As long as your religion and your views don't affect other people and it makes you a better person, go for it. But unfortunately, that's the minority. The majority force you to do things you don't want to do. They force you from a young age to do things you don't want to do. They force you to donate. Scientology, Islam, you have to donate. Catholic Church, you have to donate to the Catholic Church. You have to pray. Aren't these the same priests that have abused children for a century? The Greek Church, don't even get me started with the Greek Church. The amount of money they have stolen from people is simply disgusting. But just because somebody follows a religion doesn't mean that they're a bad person. As long as they are nice people to their neighbours. Fundamentally, the idea of religion, some people would say it's a beautiful thing, and some people would say it's the worst thing that's ever happened in this world. And I believe both things. It's made people better, but it's also made them dumber.
Honestly, Daniel, I don't think we're going to see them in 2014 or 2015. I reckon it's almost the last nail in the coffin.
They're really struggling.
It's a really grey area because, you know, there's a lot of reasons why people might cheat on another person. And cheating's never condoned. It's bad either way. But It really does depend what's going on in the relationship, I think.
A lot of us go through that stage where we think, can we, can't we? It doesn't help when we have critics, and a lot of times they're just jealous and bitter and they say a lot of awful things. But a lot of time, even the kindest people will look at us and, and think, yeah, look, that's just a fantasy, that's just a dream. And that always pissed me off. Did you ever cop that as well?
Yeah, always.
A lot of the times I question the loyalty of a lot of people. They go behind our backs and, they want that and next. But it's like you said, what if they really can't come to us? What if they feel that we're going to explode? So, it's not always bad. It can be bad.
Sometimes it's a situation.
It just depends.
And they think, oh, it's not the bad.
I mean, if they've got chemistry, who am I to stand in the way? Oh, the whole mate code. Oh, don't go for the next. If I've already moved, especially if I've moved on, why would I care what the other person's doing? I think what it comes down to is maybe, I don't know, is it jealousy? Is it ego? I'm not quite sure.
I reckon it probably is a bit of that.
The amount of times I've seen people post statuses on Facebook saying, oh, I get my license back, or I can't wait. They think they're cool, man. They lose their license and they think they're cool. I've never, ever lost my license. Ever. And there's people out there that lose it once a year. It's like an annual thing.
I agree with a lot of what Trump says. And I don't agree with a lot of what Trump says. However, we can't always label Trump as a nutcase and always just, oh, look what he's saying now, look what he went and said there, oh, look what he's trying to do with this, and look what he's attempted to do with that. Now that it's happened, he's written about it, trying to promote himself off of it. He's just stating facts. People get a gun and go crazy and start shooting up the place. It's always linked to one fucking thing. And when Trump points it out, he's labelled as the Joker. He's labelled as Mr. Freeze. He's labelled as the Penguin. He's labelled as the Riddler. After I've sent a message to someone and they have read it, why haven't they replied? Because they're assholes. Because they're assholes. Simple as that. I was a devil going to St. James. I got into a lot of punch-ons, at the canteen and in the hallways with other kids in my year level and even above.
This is not what I had in mind. This is not what I had planned when I came up here. Oh, fuck me dead. Alright.
I said to everyone, Amber, everyone that knows ya, and I said to them, I go, give the kid 12 months and he's going to skyrocket. And it's been 10 months and 3 weeks. I was close, and boom, man, you just knocked it right out of the park. I couldn't be more proud of you, buddy. They are going to believe that's what the fuck they want to believe. They're going to follow exactly what they want to follow.